What's up, everyone? It's Kadi with MoneyVest. So very strong rally coming back into the market with the NASDAQ here up a little bit over 2%. We got the S&P up over 1.4, back up to over 4763 within striking distance from its all-time highs. And the Dow Jones also pushing higher 0.5% as there was a massive rotation back into technology, into big tech, into Magnificent Seven, and we did have, of course, fantastic gains for a lot of individual stocks on the day. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. I would really appreciate that, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And the links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course, getting access to all the members-only private videos and that 16% annual discount that's available for a couple more days. And I've opened up a few more spots for the month of January, just a couple more spots if you're interested in joining. And of course, getting access to all the alerts and all the trade ideas, including all the Discord channels, members only videos, that's ad-free content for all of you. And of course, Excel spreadsheets, including my watch list and my fair values as well. So this right here is the market. So Dow Jones pushing up 0.5%, S&P up 1.4%, and the NASDAQ here also pushing up over 2.2%. So closes over 2% higher Monday as tech stocks revival lifts major averages, and the S&P again gained 1.4% at just over 4,700, with the S&P jumping 2.2% to close just shy of 15,000. And the Dow Jones, of course, has already been at an all-time high at over 37,600 as well. And investors bought the dip on technology sector, which lost 4% last week as yields fell on Monday. NVIDIA rose 6.4%, reaching an all-time high. Amazon climbed nearly 2.7%, and of course, Alphabet advancing 2.3%. Apple added 2.4%, added a new position in Apple, and of course, we've already had the SMH index ETF, which is the semiconductor ETF, that was jumping over 3.5% for its best day since November. And of course, the 10-year treasuries also did drop about 3 basis points on the day. This right here is Adam Turnquist, a chief technical strategist at LPL, says, and I quote, "I think it's still a new year, the same bull market with the same risk. The simple story is stocks were overbought and yields were oversold, and now we had an excuse for a little bit of a bounce in both directions. It's nothing really too concerning at this point at the moment." And of course, a very strong momentum and rally coming in for semiconductors, for technology, for communication services, for consumer cyclicals, financials, and even automakers, electric vehicles, all of them pushing higher, with energy slightly pulling down. And of course, Boeing had a pretty significant sell-off on the day on the back of the Alaska Airlines issue. This right here is the entire market. So again, energy stocks definitely selling off. That was the only sector in the market among 11 sectors, only one energy selling off on the day. In the last 1 week, of course, we've seen a little bit of a split market, and over the last 1 month, of course, all 11 sectors are still very much green, with sugar prices, oats, palladium, lean hogs, wheat, and copper all pushing higher, with cocoa, natural gas, and orange juice selling off. Bitcoin here a little bit under 47,000, and Ether just over 2,300 as well. So when it comes to Bitcoin first, we saw a very strong breakout up to over 48,000. So very nice move to the upside. It's approaching that resistance at 48,000. So that is going to be that level to keep in mind and to watch, basically 48,000 to 51,000 for Bitcoin. And of course, support level is going to stay put at 31,000, kind of in line with this green rectangle to watch for BTC. So very strong breakout to the upside. And of course, Ethereum here also just consolidating sideways at that resistance. It's been consolidating here a little bit, and if you do see a breakout above this, 3600 is going to be that next resistance and target to watch for Ether. Talking a little bit about crude oil. So crude oil here once again getting rejected at $74 a barrel. So this right here is going to be that resistance level to keep in mind for crude, and the support level is going to stay put at $66 to $67 per barrel for crude oil. So that is going to be that support. Resistance stays put at $73, $74 a barrel. Talking about the 10-year treasuries, we have seen a little bit of rotation back lower, 0.5% down, so just a little bit over 4% on the 10-year treasuries. We do have a lot of note auctions this week, and of course, not to mention, we've got inflation numbers coming out as well. So a lot of that is going to be playing a big role, of course, on the market and how the markets end up reacting and what type of move can we see from the markets as well. So that is something to keep in mind for the markets going into this week, because we've got inflation numbers coming out. Now, talking about the S&P 500 first, a very nice rebound here on the day, pushing up a little bit over 1%, back up to almost 4,800. This right here is the daily chart daily candle with a very nice massive move back to the upside. RSI MACD was not quite oversold. It did come down a little bit, but we are once again seeing that momentum drive stocks back higher. Lots of buy the dip opportunities here in the market, and investors are still very optimistic on the potential for the S&P to get up to all-time highs. So 4,800 is where we are, a little bit under 2% away from its all-time highs. And if this momentum carries forward this week on the back of inflation numbers, it's very much possible that we do see a lot more upside here for the markets moving forward. Talking about the NASDAQ, and again, very strong candle coming in, up a little bit over 2.2%. So very strong move to the upside, and resistance is going to be all the way up to 15,400. So this right here is going to be that level to watch, and of course support level at 14,600 to as low as 14,400 for the NASDAQ as well. So that is going to be those support levels to keep in mind for the NASDAQ. So this right here, very strong support for the NASDAQ at around 14,400, 14,600, and next target and resistance at 15,400 for the NASDAQ as well. Talking about Apple, so I picked up some Apple today, started a brand new position. Again, if you want to get access to all those alerts, link's going to be down below. Picked it up at 183. Should have been a little bit lower at 181, but I was kind of occupied during market open. But very nice move back up. Oversold RSI, oversold MACD, trading at its 200 simple moving average. So that potential resistance is going to be at 190, 189 to 190. That's going to be that target for Apple all the way up to $198. So again, I do believe that from a risk reward standpoint, Apple is worth looking into right now, and that's exactly one of the reasons why I started a new position and I bought at around $183, sent out an alert today. But that again is a very strong support, rotating back higher from that RSI and from MACD as well. Again, if you want to get access to all those alerts, link's going to be down below. Amazon here also moving up very nicely, 2.6% pushing up, and support level, intermediate support at 143. Of course, we're starting to see a little bit of rotation back to the upside, and resistance is going to be all the way up to 154 to as much as 161 for Amazon. So that right there is going to be that next level to watch, all the way up to 161. So 155 to 161 for Amazon, and of course we're seeing a very nice recovery and reversal back up from Amazon as well. So this right here is going to be that support level to keep in mind for Amazon. Talking about Tesla here, and Tesla on the day also rotating back up a little bit, 1.25%. So very nice move to the upside. I closed out my covered calls with a 70% profit. So let me just show you that very quickly. This right here was the alert I sent out in the Discord under the options alert. So this right here was the alert. Again, closed out my Tesla covered calls, 70% profit, and these are calls that became 70% profitable within 3 days or 4 days. So sold them on January 2nd. So today is the 9th. Today's the 8th. So we're looking at 6 days, and these ended up being up over 70%. So that's the power of selling options. Like really, like I get to keep my shares. I don't have to sell my shares, and I get to keep $330 profit in just a matter of 6 days. And you do that with multiple stocks. You do that over and over again, and next thing you know, you're generating good $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per month. Like, that's the beauty of selling options, selling cash like puts, and selling calls. Something that I have tried to encourage a lot of people to try to learn and start implementing that strategy in their portfolio, because it's free. It's obviously not free money. Okay, so when I say free money, I say it in a more sort of a rhetorical way. Like, obviously it is not. There's always risk, right? The risk is that what if Tesla stock rallies over $300 per share, and then of course you have to give up your shares. But even then you get to keep the premium, and of course your capital gains on the position itself is going to be huge, because my strike was $300 and Tesla of course never got to $300, and the option expires on February 2nd. So that's why it was up over 70%, because Tesla stock was dropping over the last week. And again, that's the beauty, that's the power of options, which I highly encourage everyone to learn and try to implement as much as they can to make their portfolio more efficient, more optimal. And even you can go even further out of the money. Like, I could have sold 325, 350 calls. Yes, the premium would not have been that much. Maybe I would have made like $100 or a couple $100, but it's still generating cash flow. I mean, stocks you can sell way far out of the money calls and puts and still make at least some money that's coming in, right? Even if it's really low, it is something, right? You're not obligated to buy or sell unless it is actually in the money. And for the probability for it to be in the money is really low since we're selling way out of the money, right? For these options. So this right here is going to be that resistance at 240 all the way up to 269. So that is going to be that level. And of course, we're seeing a little bit of that pushback higher on the RSI and the MACD as well. Talking about PayPal, and PayPal here on the day also moving up very nicely, 2.69%. So very, very nice, strong rally coming in. Resistance is going to be all the way up to $65 per share. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for PayPal. Support level is going to stay put at $56. And Visa here also very similar to of course a lot of other stocks, hitting a new all-time high, pushing up very, very nicely, up a little bit over 1%. And support level is going to stay put inside this green rectangle at 245 to 250 dollars per share. So that right there is going to be that level to watch. Previous resistance acting as a support, and of course we've seen a consolidation, breakout, consolidation, and a potential breakout now also happening for Visa. Talking about NVIDIA hitting a new all-time high beyond $500, and guess what we talked about, folks? What did we talk about on NVIDIA's chart? We talked about the ascending triangle. Literally in my yesterday's market update video, we talked about the potential for NVIDIA to see a breakout considering the ascending triangle here. So it's consistently making that higher low, and it's got a huge resistance and supply at 500, and it's only a matter of time before we see that breakout. We literally talked about this in our yesterday's market update and the technical update on big tech as well. So this is the breakout, very, very strong move, 6.4%, $522. And of course, as a result, SMH, which is what I have, was also up very nicely, up over 3.5%, moving up very nicely back up to over 171, 172. AMD, on the other hand, also pushing higher very nicely, up a little bit over 5.5%. So it's done incredibly well. And support level is going to stay put right over here at $130. Resistance and target up to 156 for AMD. And support level is also going to stay put down to 112, kind of in line with that 200 simple moving average as well. So this right here are going to be a couple levels to watch for AMD. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta here also moving up almost 2%. Very, very nice move to the upside, consistently making higher highs and higher lows, kind of trading inside that uptrend. Again, trading back above that support and approaching that near-term resistance at 360s. And of course, all the way up to that next target for Meta, which is going to be sitting almost at the all-time high at $383. So that right there is going to be that next resistance and target to watch beyond 360s for Meta, and that is going to be the all-time high for the company once again, and the market cap just approaching close to $1 trillion once again. This has been a very solid recovery for Meta. Netflix, on the other hand, up another 2.3%, so moving back up to 485. So very, very nice move to the upside. Resistance is going to stay put at 484. Support level close to $450, and of course all the way up to as much as 495 for Netflix as well. So this right here is going to be that resistance at 496. Support level is going to stay put at 450 for Netflix as well, and we're starting to see that momentum back up for Netflix also. Google, on the other hand, also pushing up a little bit over 2.2% after seeing last week being red. So very nice start to this new week, and approaching that resistance at 139, 140 to as much as 144 for Google. So that is going to be that level to watch inside this red rectangle, and support level is going to stay put roughly around $126, kind of in line perfectly with this 200 simple moving average. So if it ever comes down to that level, we'll be looking at buying more shares and of course being a little bit more aggressive in that dollar cost averaging into Google. Microsoft, on the other hand, continues to validate that support somehow, and that is going to be inside that range, very, very tight range. 366 is that support, and resistance all the way up to 376 for Microsoft. So if you do see a little bit of a breakout, next resistance to target is going to be 384 for Microsoft, and support level, like I said, 366 is where it's going to be sitting at the moment. And last but not least, we got Costco and Enphase, and Costco here on the day pushing up also a little bit over, I think, so up over 87 basis points. So 661 is where it's at. Just a lot of consolidation for Costco. It's just been trading sideways in that range between 642 and 668. So it's just been trading in that range. So if it does end up breaking down below, of course, next support is going to be in the low 600s. But right now, it does seem like it's making a little bit of a bull flag as well. So if you do see a breakout above 668, then there is possibility for another, of course, new all-time high up to almost 675 to as much as $700 per share. And finally, we got Enphase, ENPH, and Enphase here. Up over $116, basically flat, so red candle on a green day. Definitely just suggests there were sellers present that were selling off the stock pretty aggressively. Support level is going to be in the low 100s for Enphase, resistance all the way up to 131, 132 for this company moving forward. So hope you all enjoyed this video, and a very, very strong day for the markets across the board. It was absolutely fantastic with a lot of buyers kind of stepping in, buying the dip, and starting off this second week of 2024 on a very strong foot ahead of inflation numbers. So I will be posting a couple of videos talking about inflation numbers and what the expectations and the reactions might look like. As always, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course getting access to all the members only private videos. That 16% annual discount is also available. And happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.